Hey, good boy. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm right here. All right. I need a cleaning person. I need a wife. Just kidding. Just kidding. Everybody needs a wife. So this says I'm already in. Oh, I see. Start camera. Lucky, are you all right? Are you all right? I don't know why my camera's not coming up. Well, I guess it's just my. All right. Wow. That was like pulling teeth. That was like pulling teeth. All right, let's go to the top. Oh, let me turn this off. Hey, Narad Wells was first. Mark, how are you doing? Maddie SF8. T. Alex. David. Gerald. Red Pepper. Can I look into S Dish? Yeah, I can look into it. Let me write it down. I can give you my first reaction right now when I look. I'll look for a quote. But it sounds familiar. Almost like someone mentioned it before. So let me just look, Laura. And we can go through some of the other prices too. DISH. Dish Network. Interesting. 387. 52-week high of 1645. We're flirting with the yearly lows. Pomerantz Law Firm investigates claims on behalf of investors. Bronstein, Gerwitz, and Grossman encourages investors to seek compensation. And I'll have to look into why there's all these lawsuits on behalf of shareholders. I mean, I would think Dish is, I don't know, is a whole generation unhooking their cable, the payments to cable. Is the economy strong or is it really not? People will start reducing their cable. Are people using TV? Maybe they're using, I don't know. Those are some background issues, but there must be more to it. In general, this is trading near its yearly lows, and that's not really a great time to buy. It might be a good time to hold on. I would think there'll be tax loss selling by the end of the year, but those are just tropes. They're just common reactions looking at the stock. But I'll look and I wrote it down. I'll Laura Rogers. Maybe other people here know, Laura. BN Pro. I don't know if Ham has already had a call. I went to get a haircut, which I had lined up or tried to line up because we were traveling, and I just followed through on it today. I don't know if we're traveling anytime soon, though. But my disappointment is I look just like me. Very disappointing. Aloha. Hello from Southwest Florida. That part of Florida doesn't get hit by hurricanes, I don't think, or not often. The way you look tonight. I wanted to go through the prices. We'll do that. I don't know why my computer was so slow warming up to you guys today. Maybe it senses a angry mob. Hey, Akira. Now I'm totally gone. That's the most honest assessment of me for a long time. Too far gone, because I'm too far gone. I wonder what that song is. Too far gone. I think it's Waylon. Oh my gosh. I could have gotten it cheaper. Because I'm too far gone. Lyrics. Metallica. Nah. Metallica wouldn't sing Waylon. Dottie West. Let me put Waylon. Oh, that's a great song. I can't get the melody in my head. I know that somewhere there's someone you love more than me. Someone you love more than me. And I hate to say it, but you have a right to be free. I know that's the way it should be. But I'm too far gone. Too far gone. I've loved you so much now, for so long, and I'm too far gone. If ever your new love should hurt you or make you feel blue, just remember your old love will still be around loving you. I'll still be around loving you, 'cause I'm too far gone. Too far gone. I've loved you so much now for so long, and I'm too far gone. That's the price you pay for copyright claims. You have to listen. You have to listen to a bad copy of it. Yeah, thank you. You know, after they're done, they dry it and then they put all this crap in it. I never figure out how to put that crap in my hair. It's called okay, anyway, I can't remember the name. TD says I have to pay $50 of my GTII. Look, Korea Yoon, I hope you're just updating us on the shenanigans and the machinations of the back offices. They don't have the stock, and that's the whole point. That's the whole point. So the more, to me, as I read this, I love it because it means the system is gummed up, and it's working. On the other hand, I guess you can read it. I can't get my stock. I can't sell it. But Korea Yoon, this is a representation of the fact the shares don't exist. But if this weren't going on, the shares still don't exist. It's the difference between when you walk into the kitchen, you turn on the light. If you live in a New York apartment or a DC apartment, you turn on the light and you look at your watch, or you look back at your back for a while so the cockroaches can scurry and hide, but they're still there. Anyway, it's hard to explain. It's a good thing what's going on. Thank you, Barbara L. Yeah, I gave up. I figure 2 shares of finger or a haircut. I said shave and a haircut. 2 shares. Gretchen Rutherford. You sound like you come from a long line of Rutherfords. Yes, in our day, we didn't bother with the riffraff on Wall Street. We invested directly. We're Rutherfords. I don't know. It's a good name, though. I like that name, Rutherford. It has a certain strength to it. Hey, Artuck. A certain solidity or strength. It has a strength to it. I thought Dish Network went out of business. So maybe, Laura, maybe there's something going on. I'll have to look it up, Ben Palmer. Maybe there's something going on similar to Bing. Yeah, I'm sure everyone's canceled. I signed up for this thing called Yobo, Tubo, Yo. Anyway, some sort of TV service to watch Djokovic, and then I canceled it. They give you free, but somehow I'm sure it's me. Somehow it was also in my other email, so I just canceled it over the weekend. $116 a month for nothing. Who wants to pay these cable rates? F0. I don't know anything. Oh, cancer treatment. The thing to be careful about, T. Alex, is if a company has already done a toxic financing through somebody like Jeff Easton, All right, hang on. Let's see what's happening. Hello? Yeah, I'm back. I'm live. All right, you guys got a special treat. I just got to put you on the speaker. You get, all right, let's see if this will go. All right, you should be on the speaker. You get the voice, the audience, the voice, the voice, the audience.
You got the angry voice. I have a football bet that could pay out $52,000 on my starting quarterback is hurt. Now my backup quarterback is hurt. 52,000, 54,000. Excuse me.
That's a depth. That's a question of depth.
But I'm not a happy camper. But we're gonna win anyway. So let's go on. This is not whatever you want. What's the words? I forgot.
No advice here. All opinion. No advice.
Yeah. So anyway, this is our opinion. Blah 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 blah. All right. There was a story just out that the attorney generals of the states are going over to the SEC. It was an AP story, but the AP story disappeared. It was posted. I took a little tidbit of it, and I posted it up there. The stories like this are going to come. The state, everyone's complaining. Keep up the work. We're going to get them. That's all I can say. You got countries are going after the short sellers. Why wouldn't someone go out and protect U.S. investors? States are going to go after the SEC because these shareholders live in all these different states and they're all losing their ass.
Plus tax revenue, jobs.
Revenue growth, everything comes to a standstill, excuse me. I've been hearing all kinds of stories that there's big events happening next week. I don't know what they are. I'm for it. So I'm hearing early next week there's big events. I don't know. I think I only follow 2 stocks. So which one is it? Let's see what happens. It's fun. I don't know which one it is. All right. I happen to believe that it's going to be finger motion, but let's see what happens. All right, so I'm excited about next week. That's all I can say about that because I don't know anything else about that. All right, so I had some friends that wanted to buy stock and they're buying finger motion stock. They asked me what should they do, and I told them what I think they should do. That's it. That's the extent of my knowledge. I do believe that I'm going to get a tremendous update from law enforcement in the next couple of days. I was told I was going to get an update. Let's see what happens there. And now you can see that the states are going after the SEC. You got the MMTLP crowd breaking down the walls at the Congress, going after the SEC. How much longer can they keep up this sham? I don't think it's going to be too much longer. All right, you can see they're still trying to hold finger motion down on the light buy. They still keep, every time it ticks up, someone keeps trying to sell to market down. It's just, it's Richard, not legal advice. It's the same pattern. All right. William, we got the guy's name, Igor, yesterday.
Igor. With the Hunchback on that movie with Mel Brooks, Igor.
Yes, well, it was Young Frankenstein. That's
Apple Boom.
Right, that's when he goes and right. That's when he goes to get the brain and he gets the wrong one called Abby Normal.
Abby Normal.
He goes, you made me put a brain, abnormal brain, and a 6'6" monster.
And then the femme fatale ends up with a monster. At last, I have found you. Man.
Anyway, so there's a lot of things going on. Mark Bazile is all over that. Let him torture the short and distort crowd. The DOJ is looking for the short and distort crowd. We got Igor and his merry friends. They can't help themselves but trying to steal, thinking they're going to get away with it. It's not going to happen. It's coming to a head. Again, when the states step in, okay, the SEC has a real problem. They can sit there and say all the stuff they want, but it'll only gather more momentum as it goes along. All right, the data doesn't lie. People do. Remember that. You know, we could say all we want. Oh, there's Ham, William, they're a bunch of jerk-offs. But you know what? We're only reporting what FINRA is telling us. And FINRA is telling us that you're all getting fucked. So that's what FINRA is telling me. All right? And they tell it to us on a daily basis every day. Dozer puts it up every day, so we get to see that they're not covering and they're still pressing their bets because there's nowhere to go. They're trapped. All right? Just think about every day that goes on, like MMTLP, these guys, it just gets worse. All right? And the longer that goes on with MMTLP, I believe the settlement will get bigger because there's no reason to settle for less if they're robbing you and they know about it. All right? So the longer that goes on, I hope you guys get more money because you deserve more money for being tied up this whole year by doing this. Even though most of you would have lost your money trading other names, you're glad you're locked in here and you'll get your payday. So I'm happy for you. Again, Mark Brazil's going after the short and distort gang. Remember, all the paper trail, the sell tickets always lead to the money. It doesn't go away. So again, Lynn Partners is not Citadel. They don't have big friends. Their only friend they have is in Australia, and that's John Hancock, but his 222% profit. So again, these guys are going to be on an island. They are on an island right now, but they will be exposed and they will be caught. William, anything?
Only boomers have cable TV. All right.
What does that
mean? Somebody was asking me about dish, and I don't know anything about it. And it turns out it's Dish Network.
It's still around? I thought AT&T bought them.
Yeah, something. It's $3.80. It's trading at almost at yearly lows. Somebody's asking you, did you make that football bet with Ace?
Say it again.
Did you make that football bet with Ace?
No. I've been betting this bet since the beginning of the year. In May, I started before the teams even started practicing. And I just had a hunch that the team was going to be really good this year. And as the season went on, the odds got worse. I started at 18-1. And now I know why it was 35-1 the other day, because the quarterback that everyone knew, ESPN, the biggest secret everybody knew in the betting world, but people that follow FSU football, and the odds went to 35-1. So I have 2,000 bet at 27-1. So if you just do the math, that's $27,000, $54,000 bet on a game for a Saturday night, and I'm not happy about it. That's what do I do? I'm trying to figure a way to hedge it. I wanted to hedge it after they won tomorrow. I was going to hedge it in the playoffs, but now I'm sort of, see what I can do. Who knows?
Well, you can. Well, it's already down. You're losing money, I guess. But
no. I'm locked in, is what I am.
But you can sell part of it, can't you? If it goes up, the value.
I can bet the other team tomorrow. So I didn't want to do that until the next game. So I needed one more win to get me to where I wanted to be. And since I can win $52,000, people, I bet 2,000 to win 52 or 54, excuse me. What I can do, I can bet $15,000 on the next game. If my team loses, I spent 2, I win 15, I'm plus 13. Say my team wins, I have to go to the next game. I still have 30,000 in profit that I can still win. So I could do is bet $20,000 on the next game. And the worst I could walk out with is if my team loses, I get 20. If my team wins, I get 10 minus the 2. So it'll turn into a win-win. But I wanted to get past tomorrow before I started doing the crazy bets.
So there's about, I don't know if it's the same person, but there's about 6 questions on GDC.
I bought more at 301. Does that answer your questions? We paid 380 and I bought always down to where you see it now. It was going this morning. I left, it came back and it was down. I have no idea. I know my friends are in it and they're very smart people, so I'm just going to stick with it. And all I know about it is that I know that there's very smart people in it and that the symbol is GDC. That's it. That's all I know. I know nothing else.
There's a nationwide protest at all FINRA offices December 8th.
December 8th.
Day after Pearl Harbor.
I got jury duty. I'm in a grand jury on December 13th. So I don't know how long. Please put me on a case that there's a naked short seller. Please let me be that guy. You know, to get a murder trial. The last time I went to jury duty, I went in and they rolled in the guy, and he basically kidnapped the girl, drugged her, and raped her. And I guess the attorney for the criminal wanted to know if people would object to listening to the case.
They're not going to pick. They're not going to pick you.
They looked at me. They looked at me and threw me out within 1 minute.
They're going to say you're going to vote. You're going to vote to hang him.
I yelled hang him as I walked out. I said, what are you, crazy? He drugged the girl, raped her, kidnapped her, everything. He was like 0 for 5. I said, are you kidding me? So I basically let him know as they threw me out.
So AT&T bought DirecTV. So what's Dish? What's the symbol Dish? I just have to look it up. It's
Dish, D-I-S-H.
It's trading for like 380.
387. I don't know what happened. I remember years ago. That's all I know. Getting back to our stuff, I don't give a shit about Dish. I think we're going to see a lot of activity next week. I'm hoping for good things. I hope we explode. I think that Lynn Partners is going to get arrested. I think that the federal enforcement is going to get them. I've given them more documentation on it. You got the states going after the SEC now. The pressure's on. South Korea is expanding their probe. I'm sure Thailand will do the same thing. South Korea is doing the best thing for us. They are pissing on the SEC's head. They're giving them a golden shower, as they say. All right. They are abusing them in the newspapers daily, which is unbelievable for us. Never will you see a government speak so loud about a crime. This is unbelievable that they're doing this. And a crime that has been grown in the U.S. We groomed these guys to do this stuff, and they're doing it around the globe because the SEC and DTC go out there and help these countries, these poor countries who want to set up an exchange. They're using our same rules. How nice of them to do that. All right, so the same rules are being used all over the globe, and that's why you need your own exchange. And here we finally got a country that said enough of this already, which is great. So we're in the right track. I think we're very close to what's going to happen here, and I'm thrilled about what's going on.
What's the difference between covering a short position and closing a short position?
Covering and closing.
It's not a riddle. I just think you use the term interchangeably.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
What are you trying to stump me? What are you, crazy?
I don't think so. I think it was a legitimate confusion, or maybe not.
Right.
Sometimes I get fooled. Is there any update on the broker who took orders from potentially Kramer at the beginning of the year for West Park Securities? The FBI got involved.
You know what? I reached out to that gentleman. It's an older guy who's got the connection, and I haven't heard back from him. When we talked about it the other day, someone reminded me about that. And he was very adamant that the gentleman, the broker, said that someone was going to get arrested. So I don't know where it stands. I can ask. I forgot. These are people that have, they're not in the front line of Wall Street. So when they hear things like this, it came through a friendship, their friendship with the broker. So I will freshen that up, as you say.
You tweeted today that you're looking forward to Monday. Why is that?
I'm looking forward to Monday because my team will win on Saturday night, and Monday should be a good day, right? How's that? Wink, wink. Anyone get that yet? Okay, that's what I'm looking forward to. If the SEC's listening, my team's going to win on Saturday night, and I have 52,000 riding into next week. That's going to make me very happy on Monday. Wink, wink.
So,
Right?
so you're saying we have a chance.
I still have a chance. My team can still win. Yes.
SEC says they're running over to South Korea to help, quote unquote, guide Asia through this. What the F?
To Thailand. I think, I don't know if it's, yeah, I think they would go. Who knows where they're going? What do you think they're trying to do? Stop the news cycle. Stop talking about it. You're killing us. Everybody, just go repost the South Korea stuff. That's it on Twitter. You got nothing to do. Just keep reposting it. And copy the SEC. That's all. It's going on all over the world. Stop it already. Instead of saying, hey, we're going to go there and try to assist you and help stop naked short selling, and we're going to look into it in the U.S., they're saying nothing. Think about what they're saying. They're running over there to shut the people in South Korea's mouth and say, stop talking about it. What are you, crazy? We'll give you a few $1 billion. Shut up already. That's what they're going to say.
Somebody's asking you if you're familiar with a Conrad. I guess that's Conrad Hilton or something. A Conrad, I don't know. It's a good listener. I'm not being fooled on the.
No, I don't know what it means.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a genuine question: what covering versus closing. Somebody's telling you
the closing position, that opening and closing is commonly used in option trading.
Right. Well, this person said if it's the same pattern when they cover, it must be the same pattern when they close. Yeah.
That's used in when you buy an option to open, and you have to mark your ticket that you're selling your option.
Yeah, you don't, when you're calling in the order, you don't say cover, you say opening transaction, closing transaction. But you never call the trading desk anymore.
Right. You know, your platform, if you go on Fidelity or Ameritrade, when you put an order in, if you don't own the stock, they won't allow you to sell it unless you borrow it, right? You have to sell short. You got to mark your ticket on your machine. Everything has to be marked a certain way. All right. So again, I don't think they say, closing or opening in stocks, but they do say it in options.
Somebody's asking, and maybe this is a chance for you to relay your story when you went to the Middle East. You met with the high up Saudi woman who said that what she said about all the markets. But they're asking here, could South Korea make an announcement to their nation to be cautious of U.S. markets attributable to the epidemic of counterfeit shares?
I sent emails to everyone who's written a story about South Korea, to all those newspapers, telling them to stay away from the U.S. markets. It's completely fraudulent.
Which is what you heard in Saudi Arabia, how they view.
The Saudi Arabia, I spoke with the highest ranking official at their military body, and it was a woman, right? My friend who is fluent in Arabic. He couldn't believe it, that she was, in charge of this whole thing in Saudi Arabia. And I described to her, and she said, why do you want to come here? I said, because the U.S. equity market is all fraud. And she said, I'm going to try to search my emails because I had her name on the conference call. And she said, we all know it's fraud. That's what she told us. You're not telling us anything new. That's what she said to me.
It was news to you.
I couldn't believe it. I was pitching her on it, and and they knew right away it was all fraud.
Not legal advice is saying that Marty Feldman was Igor.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah. They asked him what hump. They asked him what hump is on his back. He turned. He looks. What hump? What are you talking about?
Oh God, I don't know what it is about my channel. Our channel. These jokes. Confucius say, person who fly an airplane upside down have crack up. Very funny. Very, very funny. Somebody is talking about the two global banks. Guesses are their HSBC and PNB Paribas. I don't know what you're referring to. They haven't published the names of the two global banks.
Yeah, they haven't said yet, right?
Hey, Busy Brands is getting too big for his brands. He's going to have a space call with Patrick Byrne soon.
Nice.
Can't wait.
Tell me, ask him if we can get him a discount on car insurance through Geico through Warren Buffett.
Ask Busy if he has time for the rest of us now that he's hanging out with the big boys.
You can have them all. Anybody else you want, I'll give you all of them.
Oh, Korea is investigating two global banks. I see. But they didn't say what the name was.
Well, they put out a story before. They said there's more banks involved. No shit,
I wrote Sherlock.
Right.
Says, no, I don't think we're leaving next Sunday. I don't know when the trip.
As I find out, I'm trying to I'll figure it out by Monday or Tuesday.
Ham wants to be away from his wife and the two gay guys for Christmas.
Actually, I'm
not that there's anything wrong with that.
I just want to give everybody a story that, again, life is too short. You need to enjoy it. So take your head out of your ass and smile that you're alive and you're healthy. I have a young girl that we know, and she has a baby already. Maybe she's 25 years old. She's got pregnant with another one, and she's 4 months pregnant. And we found out Saturday she was having a boy. We're all excited. Congratulations. And then 2 days later, they found out the baby's heart is not going to make it, and the baby's going to die.
Ooh.
So she's originally from Brazil, so I'm trying to find a way to get her a visa to get into the U.S. before they do anything to, get it to a priest and do what they have to do. It's awful.
It is. It's terrible.
I've been so upset about it. I'm just destroyed about it. Oh, it's terrible. Terrible.
Listening to Charlie Munger and his partner, Warren, he said that some people have it all wrong. He was golfing with a friend, and he said, what good is wealth? It doesn't buy you health. No, what good is health? It doesn't buy you wealth. He said he got it all backwards.
Well, I'm a firm believer in that. Listen, this stuff bothers me a lot, but when you hear stuff like that, it just makes you sick.
Yep. There's these
rat bastards walk around, and they think it's a joke. Everybody's, I wish I could do more. I can only do so much. These guys have stolen everybody's money, so it's terrible.
Well, they have eternity yawning before them, so I hope they enjoy their brief existence here. Anyway, I don't see any other questions. It's 3:25.
Well, everything I know. Is next week going to be a good week? You know what? I'll say yes. That's all I can say. I don't know. We're going to be here. Hopefully we'll all be around next week, and it'll be a good week.
Yeah.
I can't wait to actually speak with the Secret Service and do everything in my power. 10 times more now, because now I'm really mad, to get these guys thrown in jail. I don't give a flying fuck about them or their families or their friends. So Lynn Partners, go fuck yourself. You, the CFO, the two girls, all of them. I'm going to throw you all ass in jails. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you got a problem with that, let's go meet anytime. Because you know what? I'm sick of these guys stealing our money and walking around and acting like who the fuck they are. Fuck you. All right? You're stealing from people's families, people need the money. It's the holidays and these pricks are running around. Fuck you. Anyway, that's how I feel.
I feel that way about Jeff Easton, Philip Valier, Hai Lee Kim, Sam Chung.
I'm telling you that
and
guy
John
Phil,
Hancock.
The guy Phil, the Canadian guy, he's the dirtbag. I'm telling you, that guy's got the connections to the
Philip Valier.
He's doing it through Canadian. I don't know the guy, but I just smell anything going through Canada with the equity markets from the U.S. back into Canada, because that was the gateway for naked short selling for a long time, was through Canada. So I think that guy is probably quarterbacking the short selling through some channel or LLC. I think that guy's quarterbacking it. So if he thinks that we're letting him get away, he's got another thing coming. And those two women that sign all the papers and look the other way, listen, when a gang goes to rob a bank and everybody inside gets caught, the getaway driver gets caught too. He goes to jail also, right? Correct, William?
Yeah, I guess. From all the movies I've seen.
Yeah, so the getaway driver is part of the crime, so he goes to jail also. So the two women that are signing and all the papers, the documentation, they can say what they want. Looking the other way is not going to cut it.
Well, Jeff Easton says he's not doing it.
All right. Let the paper work. Let's see the paper trail. The money always goes somewhere. Where's it going to?
Hey, here's somebody else has Moody Waters. He's had a lot of money on FSU for a while now.
No, I sent it all in. I'm all in now. So I'm confident we're going to win. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. Just think about me tomorrow night squirming on my couch each play.
Is it just a straight up bet, or do you, or that's not the point? I don't know your bet. It's not points.
My bet is that the team would win the national championship, right?
And that's what's on the line tomorrow?
No, there's one more game to get to these final four.
Are they still undefeated?
They're undefeated. We have a tremendous team, but our quarterback broke his leg. That's how he broke his leg. So they put the next guy in, and he got knocked cold. So now we're up to our third guy. But I still think that we can do it. So, but all I need to do is make it to the semifinals, and then I could make bets.
You can offset it, yeah.
Yes, I can start. I can walk away and make a minimum of $10,000 to $15,000 on a $2,000 bet. But I got to get this tomorrow. So that's my bet.
Not Legal Advice points out that if someone dies during the crime, the driver is charged with the murder also under the felony murder rule.
So I'm looking at these criminals. They all go together. They want to, like Billy Joel, they're all going to go down together. That's it.
I didn't hear you say this, but maybe you did. Why does Ham say most of us MMTLP holders would be lost trading on a name? What does he mean? Second time he's said this.
Because I believe that 99.75% of the people on this phone have no idea what they're doing in the equity markets. I'm not looking to insult anybody. I'm just telling you it's very difficult. And if you did buy MMTLP at 10 and you got to pay out at 20, I can see people coming back to the game thinking that they're winners and basically getting churned until they lose it all. That's what I'm trying to say. Not saying that I would have won all the time. I'm just like you. I win, lose. That's the same thing. But it's very dangerous. You know, this market's not easy. And I just felt that, you know what, it's unfortunate you've been locked up, but it's a good thing that you've been locked up. Maybe that you'll get twice your money, 3 times your money on a settlement. And I'm telling you, if you get your money, run. Do not come back.
I see. In other words, don't be trading in the market. You'll lose it all.
Don't get traded in the market. Don't think that you'll come back and say, oh, I have all these winners. Be careful. I'm trying to tell you, saying, hey, man, go find something else. Go trade Bitcoin. It's probably safer.
US 1 Tahoe says roll tide.
Oh God, tell that guy to get lost.
Don J says bet on FSU.
The gentleman who talked about Alabama, he should be ashamed of himself for even speaking, Roll Tide. Your time is past.
If Georgia wins it this weekend, they will win it all again.
That's okay. Listen, I know we're struggling because we don't have a quarterback, but I will hedge my bets. I don't care if Georgia beats us at the end because I will be making $15,000 to $20,000 because I will be hedging my bet.
Because you don't have diamond hands. One year, Ohio State won the national championship with the third string quarterback.
I know. I'm with you. I just want to get to the next thing. I bet $2,000 for fun. I didn't want to bet 2,000. I started with 500. The game, I just kept averaging it, and they were averaging up. And I'm like, this is getting out of control. And then my quarterback started dropping. So now I'm all the way in. Now what do I do? So I thought that if I could get past tomorrow's game, I will start to hedge, and I will basically try to take $10,000 to $15,000 in profit off the table and see what happens then. That's what
if I only knew how to talk football. Everyone's reacting to you. Spock here says, sorry, Ham, but he just got back from the future and Florida State loses by 20.
Well, I have those bets down. So.
Akira Nova wants to know how to get in touch with you. Contact Busy Brands.
Who wants to get me?
Or Akira Nova, or on Twitter. He's at Ham Short Killer. Just DM him. Or
what do you want to do? Yell at me? Kill me? What do you want to do? Make fun of me? Which one is it?
Akira Nova wants to
is he a bookmaker? I want to make some bets. I got some big bets I have to make.
Tell you about South Korea.
Okay.
This guy's in from Denmark. It's amazing. I should ask where everybody's from. Go Huskies.
I hope they win tonight. I'm with you on that. I hope they win.
Oregon Ducks a lock? What's a duck?
I'm not rooting for Oregon. Forget the Ducks.
Is a duck a football player? A duck?
William, if you look at that team, last week they played, they were wearing green. I think they were wearing green, ugly green uniforms, and the team they played wore orange. When I turned the TV on, I got sick looking at both teams. That's how ugly the uniforms were on both of those teams.
Oh, Busy Brands had some more good news. I skipped over it. Let me go back up to it.
What do he have? What does he got?
Well, he's hosting with Patrick Burns, but he also, Ham and Igor Appelboom are doing a boxing event. Ham will be wearing a Lucha Libre mask.
What was his name? I forgot. Is it Rey Mysterio? That was his name. Rey Mysterio, something like that. He used to wear the mask on his head and he used to fly off the ropes. That's what he did. He was always fun to watch. What's it? Nacho Libre, the movie with Jack Black.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but
watch a little more TV, William. Get up. Come on. Put the TV on.
I've watched so much over the last few months. Not TV, just movies. I feel like I've gone stupid.
If you want to, if you guys want to, if anyone needs some rest this weekend, go rent Oppenheimer. I've been watching it for 4 days.
People yesterday wanted to know what you thought about that horrible movie, Napoleon.
I fell asleep a little bit, then I woke up. The cannons were so loud that you can't sleep in that movie. But it was okay. It was part of
was Josephine hot?
His wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
Don't. Your wife is listening.
No,
Peter Sachs says,
my wife is accusing me.
Huh?
My wife is accusing me that I have a pickleball girlfriend.
Well, you have a pickle. Anyone? the SEC, fork the CFTC, fork FINRA. This is Peter Sachs saying it. You left out NASDAQ markets, over-the-counter markets.
Yeah, have them all. They're all a disgrace. They took jobs. They're supposed to protect you, and me, William, and everybody here are fighting to save ourselves. It's like ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous.
Rey Mysterio is still wrestling.
Wow.
He's trying to get out of bed. His wife won't let him go. The Duck's doctor is a quack.
Is that Richard?
Yes, that is. I'm dying laughing.
Yesterday, we watched GTII yesterday, William. We were on the call from like 1:30 to 2 o'clock. I watched the stuff from 1:30 to 4. It traded nothing, and they said the naked short in the volume yesterday was like 9%.
Wow.
They washed it. There was a couple of big trades, and that was it. There was no trading at all yesterday because I watched it from 1:30 to 3 o'clock with you, or 4 o'clock with everybody on the call. Didn't even trade.
Not legal advice says the best part about Oppenheimer was its length. I had a friend that summarized that horrible movie, The Titanic. He said that movie should have ended 3 or 4 times before it ended. And I thought, you're exactly right about that.
Well, the funny thing is, people went to see it not thinking how it was going to end. I'm like, everybody, are you kidding me? Everybody knows what happened.
I'm not going to repeat that one, but it was a clever answer in the locker room. Busy Brain says, now that I've had my haircut, maybe I can co-host for the Patrick Burns Space Call. All right.
When is that call?
He hasn't booked it yet, but there's one gentleman who is effing smart. I saw him on a video. They took a deck of cards and they showed him. They took cards one by one. He remembered it 52 cards in a row. He remembered every single one. That's either smart or just a brilliant memory.
He's brilliant. He's so smart that he's hard to understand.
But he still dated that chick, that
the Russian spy.
Chick.
Don't hold that against him. He's brilliant. He just doesn't know how to communicate, at a normal level. He will tell you, he'll start telling you about naked short selling, and then he'll drift into when he was in China studying Chinese with this monk who knew this and knew that, and you're like, and you got to keep following the story, and then he jumps back to naked short selling. We don't even know why we took a 5-minute detour.
That sounds like listening to you, only at a different plane of consciousness.
I'm at a child's level, and he's at a Harvard level. That's the difference.
And we've heard most of your stories before.
Right, I heard most of my stories before. I got a few more. I was thinking of a good one the other day, but I got a great one for you. I was thinking about the other day. I was in the Hamptons, and I thought I was a young hotshot driving around with a fancy car. And I met a beautiful girl. My friends all introduced me, and I wound up taking her out to Studio 54 on Sunday night. We came back from the Hamptons. I picked her up. I took her to Studio 54.
And it was dead.
No. Studio 54 was rocking on Sunday night. Not thinking, because I never went there on a Sunday night.
Oh.
I got in, I met the guy, and I went in with this beautiful girl, and everything was great. She goes, I'll be right back. She left me. She was a lesbian. It was gay night. I was standing with 6 guys then.
Oh, I've been.
I got the girl in. She dumped me, went with her friends, and I got stuck with 5 guys. Helped them. Hey, you got nice shoes on. I say, thank you.
You sat around and talked about the first thing that popped up.
Yeah, so that was me. I walked into that. When I went back home, my friends were all laughing at me. She got you? I go, yeah.
I was going to ask you at Studio 54, Who was the hottest for you, the hottest celebrity woman, obviously, that you ever saw? The one that made you go, wow, she's beautiful. She's hot.
They were really on the side. You really couldn't get around them. I saw all the models running around, Christy Brinkley. I saw, what's her name? Cindy Crawford. I seen a bunch of times.
I ran in. I was at Cipriano's with my friend from London, and we go to the one up, the one up by the park, up by, that big hotel, the Apple Store. And I kept going, look at her. I wanted him to look at this beautiful woman, and he wouldn't look. And when he turned around, he kind of hit me in the shoulder. He said, Haas, do you know who that is? I said, no. He said, it's Cindy Crawford. Oh, wow. She's pretty good looking.
They were always around. There's always beautiful girls. And you could tell who they were models because they were all tall. I mean, it's very easy to see them. They were all over the they always are.
Who paid the tab when you took that girl to Studio 54? I guess you did.
I drove her in, took her in. She was all smiles. We went in. She said she'd come right back. Never saw her again. I hung out with the guys. That's what I did.
Well, I bet you've never done that.
Then I figured I was in the wrong night. I said, okay, now I figured it out. It took me a while. I made a lot of guy friends, I can tell you that.
Got a lot of numbers.
I'm doing okay here. Look at all my new friends.
My little friends. Say hello to my little friends. What happened to the frog's car when it got a flat tire? Ribbit? I don't know.
Oh God, Richard, go back. Get lost. You're crashing, Richard. Anyway, so just to recap, we got the SEC under attack by I think it's 7 states not protecting from the states. You got the country of South Korea and Thailand going after abusing the U.S. for naked short selling. All right, they're exposing the crime and they're being relentless on it. And I'm sure the SEC wants to shut them up and say, shut your mouth. But that's too late. Like I said, once it's seen, it cannot be unseen. So obviously there's something there. We have law enforcement that everything that we see happening here is sent to law enforcement, building our case for how major this crime is. All right. So we have law enforcement on our side. We have government on our side. We have the state attorney generals going after the SEC. You got the MMTOP crowd going after them with Congress. How much longer can this go on? And they're protecting Lynn partners. That's who they're protecting. Them, the Kramers, the Alpine. Those are the people what's going on here. They're stealing everyone's money and protecting those people. And John Hancock is walking away with all the money, the billions of dollars in Australia, living. Well, I know people here suffering, including myself.
It's inexcusable.
And I just don't know. And the funny thing is, listen, I'm not looking for anyone to follow me. I could really give a damn. But I look at some of these people that have, like Tara Bull, she has 700,000 people following whatever she says. And she has nothing to say. And here we are as a group. We don't have collectively 50,000 people following us. And meanwhile, millions of people are losing their shirts on Wall Street. I don't understand how people are not paying attention. We're not charging you anything for it. We don't care. We're just trying to get people to help join the fight. Each person that joins the fight, believe it or not, people that joined the fight who I never met have brought Secret Service to the table, FBI. I've had, great people that introduced me to lawyers, to this. Now I got people introducing me to lawyers for foreign governments. Think about it. So when you join this fight, buying the stock and supporting it that way is one way in which you have no obligation. You don't have to do that. But if you're going to fight to save your family and one day, hopefully this will end, that it can help your children and your grandchildren have a better life, because you need to have money to make things happen, whether it's college education, whatever it may be. vacations, whatever it is that you need to enjoy yourself. You can't have guys like Jeffrey Easton stealing 80% of your money because he thinks it's his right to do it, or the Kramers or Alpine walking around telling everybody F you. This is like unbelievable that what goes on. That's just the low end. Forget the bigger players that are in here. Savvy Management laughing from this condo in Miami Beach, which I wish I was in. I'm not going to deny
Well,
it.
I can't believe they talked about the Pentagon missing 3.8 trillion. It made me think of the trillions lost in the stock market by these people, and they don't pay taxes.
I don't know how the country keeps operating where all the money just keeps getting stolen, given away. I don't know.
It's a con job, which is not to be insulting. All financial systems rely on confidence of the participants. But when that confidence disappears, as you heard on your call last weekend, the woman's name was Whiskey something. She's horrified. And if that spreads, fear busts confidence games, and our market will be in trouble.
That's why I keep trying to tell everybody, speak up, stay away, tell people stay away. It's all fraud.
It's all fraud.
Got the attorney
tell that story about that woman who did a study on it, I don't know, 15 years ago. And
her name was Leslie Bonney, Boni. I think I posted the report a bunch of times. The SEC hired her to do a report on naked short selling in, I forget the year, maybe it was 2000, 2001. Give me 1 second. Let me just find it.
This is as exciting as a crime thriller. We can hear you typing on your computer.
No, this is her report. Oh, this is the. I don't remember what the words on it, but this counterfeiting stock 2.0. That was Leslie Bonney's report.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was Leslie Bonney's report. No, someone put it up in 2022. No, Leslie Bonney, she did a report on, she was hired by the SEC. She was hired by the SEC, and the SEC told everyone that the naked shorting in counterfeit shares is like out of control. And the SEC paid her to do the report. And Busy Brands, make sure you make a note of that. Leslie Bonney, Boni, get the report and make sure that's your number one question. So Patrick Byrne knows everything about that. He can give you the inside and outside of that report. He memorizes everything. So make sure that is important. That is an important piece.
That same, somebody's pointing out they saw Christy Brinkley and Billy Joel that same night at Cipriano's. The tables are all close together. I'm sitting there with my friend, and I get bumped on my shoulder by this male ass from across the room. Billy Joel had walked over. He was brushing by me to go talk to the woman that used to date, who married. Anyway, she bought the town and went bankrupt. Blonde hair. She bought a whole town. I forget her name right now. Anyway, she was gorgeous. Ellen Barkin was sitting there, and he came over to flirt with her.
Ellen Barkin married the guy from Revlon.
That's the one. And so Joel comes over. I'm sitting kitty corner to her. I can see her, not him coming up, but he got shot down. No, maybe it was Kim Basinger. Might have been Kim Basinger. I think it might have been Kim Basinger. Anyway, she was gorgeous. And he got shot down. Had to go back to his table.
Oh, he looks like a frog.
He looks like a frog.
Billy Joel does.
He sings like...
Listen, the only celebrity I ever sat next to was David Bowie. And he was gigantic. He's very skinny, tall guy. At the Odeon Cafe on Broadway somewhere, I think it was. I forget where it was, downtown. It's still around, believe it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So are the rats.
Yeah, the rats are still plenty of rats running around. Any other questions? Anyone want to shoot? You got to go.
No, there's. If you bring up football again, I'm sure you'll get a lot of comments. Otherwise, it's slowed down.
That's it. Everybody gets it. I think I'll say it, my gut feeling. I think next week's going to be a great week. I think law enforcement, everything's coming to a head. It's going to start picking up speed. And maybe we get some corporate news. It's been quiet, right?
Yeah.
Been very quiet. Maybe we get some good corporate news to ignite and make things happen. Right? Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And GDC, yes. All I know is that my good friends bought a lot of stock. I don't really care what's going on. They're here. I know they invested a lot of money, and I'm here also. And that's the only reason I'm here. And I know the symbol, GDC. That's it. And if the other day I reported VVOS, and it's down $5, and the other one, MINM, Mary, Indian Nancy Mary, squeezed up to 10 yesterday, and it's done a complete round trip down to 315 already. Right? And there's one more today. I don't know what happened. I forgot the symbol of it. Hold on 1 second. Nancy Eddie X-ray Indian. It's up 4 points. Nancy Eddie X-ray Indian. Someone said they're doing some corporate liquidation. I don't know what that is doing. But anyway, that one squeezed 4 points on 14 million shares. The average 90-day volume of the stock is 17,000 shares. Today it traded 13 million shares.
Maybe it's starting. Maybe it's starting to go. So Busy Brands has a question for you.
Make sure Leslie Bonney, Boni. That's all you need to know.
That's not his question. That's not his question. He wants to know, what kind of gel do you apply to your hair?
I have to go read the bottle. I don't remember what it is. Rat acid. Another guy bragging about his hair. Don't worry about it. That wind is coming. It's going to get you.
Hair today, gone tomorrow.
The toupee that I'm buying, I'm going to leave to you when I'm dead. Put me in the ground before they close the box. I'm going to say, I'm leaving a note. This is too busy. Deliver it.
Brian Beast tells thank you for all the legwork. He's a holder and accumulator in GTII. A lot of thank yous coming through. So thank you.
Listen, I pray, and I never pray for money. I just want to see Finger go, and then we want to go into GTII and run the shit out of them. That's what we want to do. And if the SEC's listening, fuck you. That's the game plan, scumbags.
Oh, they don't care about the collusion on the other side.
All right. I'm not colluding. I'm telling you what we're doing.
PCSA, Frank Benedetto's stock, PCSA is moving. It's according to Busy Brands.
PC.
Paul, Charlie, Sam, Apple.
Oh, good for him. Look at that. It's got a nice vibe.
Ham, I tried to reach out to you on Twitter. His name is Joe. Can I get your email from me? Our CEO is going public, and I don't want him to get a toxic note lender. Why don't you, Carter's World, why don't you send that to Busy Brands, and he'll get it to both of us. Or you can use my email I set up, Fair and Balance. Get it? Far and Balance, Fair and Balanced at Gmail. Fair and Balanced. But anyway, I don't want to give Ham's contacts out over the call because that's not smart. Not legal advice. Busy won't lose his hair because he would need testosterone for that. That's not very. Don't get mad at the reader.
I'm gonna see him in Las Vegas. We're gonna get him drunk. and then we're going to knock him out, and then we're going to shave his head. That's what we're going to do. We're going to leave him with a, what do you call it, Genghis Khan ponytail on the side of his head, and then we're going to send him home like that.
Just give him a
And
mohawk.
we're going to put big lipstick on him and put him on a chair on the strip.
Give him a mohawk.
All right, everybody, we had a good time. I appreciate your week. I'm sorry that we couldn't kill him this week. We're trying our best. You're fighting. Please just retweet, find stories that you think can help. Leslie Bonney for Busy Brands and Pat Byrne. Have him go over that. You guys will. Pat Byrne, I can't remember it all. Pat Byrne knows every gory detail about what they hired her, the SEC, and she basically threw the SEC under the bus. Right, that was paid by the SEC for her to do a report on naked short selling, and basically she basically came out and told the world that they're a mess.
And then she told her family, "Get the hell out of the market."
She did. That is correct. I think that was correct. I think that's
well.
true.
I think that's who it was. You told a similar story. If there's another person, but I think it was her. She.
I found a great. Someone put a piece together a long time ago, and I actually met the gentleman, but the SEC went after him for something, and he put a great document together. He was a wealthy man. He put it all together, and I'll try to post it so you guys can take a look at it. But legal naked short selling appears to be the lie at the heart of an extensive stock manipulation scheme. So I'll get.
Why it still is allowed to go on, I just don't know.
It's remarkable that it's continuing. And listen, if everyone didn't get on these calls, didn't get together and talk about it, it would go on forever. So guys, everyone here is part of history. We're going to break it, change the game, and basically save your families at the same time. You know, I keep trying to tell people it's not about your money. You know, if you need a medical treatment, these guys destroy companies for fun. They don't even care what they do. They could kill us. I reported yesterday about that company, SENS, Sam, Eddie, Nancy, Sam. A gentleman owned it, a good shareholder, and he came to me a long time ago, got an FDA approval for their diabetes. I don't know whether it's a pill or whatever is the treatment. The stock went straight down. I mean, just think about it. I mean, how many people in the world have diabetes? I mean, they don't even care. They could even have it. They could kill us. I mean, that's what you're going against here. I don't understand the mentality on the other side. The guy from Capybara trading in, he says he's from Brazil. I guarantee he's living in Dubai. He's just stealing money because him and his friends know how to put out stories and destroy companies and work as a pack of wolves using the loophole. If the loophole didn't exist, naked short selling didn't exist, all these things would go away. There'll be no fake stories. There'll be no stock loan crime. There'll be none of this. The whole thing would go away. It would be investing. That's what it would be. But now it's just a casino. All right, so the market closed. We closed up 10 cents, and GTII closed up 0.0075 with still the market 51.07 to 52 cents. How close can you get that spread? Can it get any closer? Why bother? That's the funny thing. Anyway, listen, everyone, have a great night. And remember, think of me suffering tomorrow night watching my football team play at 8 o'clock. And I hope Washington.
Well, you're going to do fine. They have depth on that team.
I'll be suffering. Anyway, listen, everyone, have a great weekend. If I hear anything good, I'll get back to you again. But I think we'll be okay for next week. Let's see what happens.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ham.
You got it.
Call ended.
Okay. That was a long call. And it was a good call. It is 4:01, and I'm thinking of ending this pretty soon, unless there's some topics we can talk about. I think I agree with everything Ham said, or it seemed to imply on Finger. I think Finger is one of the stocks that could move by year end, or not. But I think CAUD has a interesting opportunity to have a snapback action before the end of the year. We'll see. I mean, I'm just giving you my order of priority. And we can talk about some of the other stocks too. What else? I was thinking about it. A lot of the things I've talked about over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I haven't done a good job. I need to just do some. I got to get a computer that doesn't freeze, and has storage, so I can do some videos. But a couple of things I want you guys to think about. If you're in the habit of believing everything you see on CNN, I don't know. I don't think that's the way you should be. I think we need to be critical thinkers and recognize that the news that we get, as it's applied to us in a mass media way, is often misleading. And that's number one. Number two, I don't think the United States, we won the Cold War, if you call it winning. Gorbachev said, nobody won this. Nobody won this. We've destroyed our environments. We've destroyed our countries. And, a couple of generations of people. Nobody won the Cold War. But anyway, if you believe that we did do that, we then turned around, in my judgment, squandered any advantages we had on the new American century, the neocons, by bombing deserts with reckless abandon, assaulting mountains in Asia, which we walked away from. China's now developing the world's largest copper mine, or copper deposit in the world, in Afghanistan. But I don't understand what we're doing. But my point is this: what's going on in the Middle East right now, not taking any sides, not talking about anything at all, just being an observer. The United States is not in a strong position. Not in a strong position. And regardless of what we think from these two shores, the Middle East is a changed place. Russia is powerful. China, which Bill Clinton got into the World Trade Organization, and then we financed moving our technologies, our patents. While we were wasting trillions, they were spending trillions on infrastructure. We'll see if it works. They've got some problems too. But China, India, Russia, Iran, now Iraq has revenues. Saudi Arabia, I think, is making a huge transition to the modern world under the Crown Prince. Anyway, I just don't think we can run our policy from aircraft carriers and in other ways in the Middle East the way we have in the past. And I think we're going to pay a price for it. And that's kind of what we need to be critical thinkers. We need to get out of the debt-based system. We have to try to be our own central banks. And I'm just telling you, big changes are coming to our lifestyle, which is predicated on oil domination of the financial markets, and a strong military, and a strong idea of what it meant to be American, including, gung-hoism, we can get it done, adaptability, all of that stuff. I'm not saying it's going to be terrible in the future, because I still have great hope for America. Just watching what everybody's doing in the communities, Busy Brands and everybody else coming together, that just gives great hope. But I was listening to an interview the other day, and the gentleman pointed out that in Israel, anybody, if you're an Israeli citizen, anybody has a right to say what they think and have different points of view and express them. Well, I used to think that was true here in the United States. But I have a block on this channel for just stating an opinion, and I got blocked on Twitter a while ago, and then again recently. But you can't speak freely anymore in this country, and I don't know. It's a question of what we want in the future. But anyway, to come back and around, and I'll do a better job of explaining my points of view. It's going to set up opportunities to make money, which is why we're here. And that's all I'm trying to point out. The world is not awash with oil. There are people out there that believe the planet creates oils deep in its rocks. I don't believe that. And there are people that think that technology will increase our ability to get the oil out. I'm not as optimistic. And then others think that new technologies are going to supplant oil and gas. I just simply don't believe it. So I think there's going to be a lot of money to be made, I think, in oil and gas. And that's one of the reasons I went through that exercise the other day, was to get you thinking about, and I'm going to get Pecos Bill on here and others, was to get you thinking about how good your NextBridge Holdings share investment is. I referenced something yesterday, and I want to see if I'm right. And it looks like I was wrong. Okay, this is from Worldometer. I gave you the producers of oil yesterday, and I gave you the exporters of oil. No, it looks like I was right. So which country consumes the most oil in the world? Well, you should know. It's the United States. We consume 19.5 million barrels of oil a day, 20% of the world's share. That's what's going to change. That's what's changing before our very eyes. The oil consumption is going to move to China, Southeast Asia, the Middle East, certain countries in Africa, and India. So our lifestyle is going to change. Now, our per capita in the United States, yearly gallons of oil consumed per capita, 922. I told you there were two countries ahead of us, if you remember, in consumption per capita. And I was wrong. There's 4 countries ahead of us, 5 countries ahead of us, 6 countries ahead of us. And if you count Gibraltar, they're way out ahead. 6, 7, 8 countries ahead of us, 9 countries ahead of us. So anyway, we consume less than 1,000 gallons per capita yearly. And then I have to do this. I have to do my own. Number one consumer per capita is Gibraltar, 35,000. That's an outlier. But Malta comes in at 1,500 gallons. Luxembourg, 1,000, almost 1,500. And Qatar comes in at 1,000, close to us. Kuwait comes in at 1.3 thousand. And the UAE comes in at 1.5 thousand. Singapore, 3.6. Wow. Canada, over 1,000. And Saudi Arabia, 1,500,000. Anyway, so the biggest consumers of oil, United States, 19.6 million barrels of oil a day. Guess who's number two? China. They've come from next, way down the list. They're now consuming 12.8 million barrels of oil a day, not far from us. Guess who's number three? India, 4.4 million barrels of oil a day. Number four, if you think about it, is Japan with 4 million barrels a day. Russia, 3.6 million barrels a day they consume. Now, when we read it yesterday, they were producing 11 million barrels, 12 million barrels a day. So they can export, but as that number of what they consume goes up, there's not as much to export. Saudi Arabia consumes 3.3 million barrels a day. Ostensibly, they produce 12. I don't believe it. But if the decline curves kick in and the new wells they're drilling have steep decline curves because they're these horizontal wells, that could get tough. But anyway, number 7 is Brazil, which is amazing, 2.9 million barrels a day. Number 8 is Korea, 2.6 million barrels a day. Number 9 is Canada, 2.4 million. Then Germany, 2.3. Then Mexico, 2. And then so on and so forth. Anyway, I just think we have to start adjusting our personal investment strategies to just be aware that things are going to change. And we can be okay because we're going to have a lot of knowledge. What is green and hops from bed to bed? A prostitute toad? Prostitute toad. Yeah, I remember that one. It got towed. The frog's car with a flat. I should have figured that out. Except toads and frogs are different beasts. Well, Carter's world, I think we're going to live in closer groups of people. They have no First Amendment in Israel. Less free speech than the United States. Yeah, that might. I don't know. I've never been. I'd love to go. I've been to the. What's it called? The body of water that separates Jordan from. Is it the Dead Sea? I've been there anyway. I could see Israel across the water, but I've never been. That's interesting. For example, when you spend time in the UAE, you can pretty much talk about whatever you want. You can have debates. There's only three things really. Number one, no drugs. No drugs. Number two, public displays of affection are not that's a risky zone. But the biggest one, number three, the biggest one, you can't say anything against the sheikh. You can't say anything against the emir. Nothing. You can't question the government. You can't question. You can't. You just can't. And I guess the fourth thing, you got to pay your bills, otherwise you're thrown in jail. But anyway, the guy I listened to, and I've experienced it myself, you can sit at, I can have sat at tables full of young, and I was younger, young Palestinians, for example, or young Lebanese, and you hear all sorts of different sides of any issue. I've sat at tables with Israelis, not as often, but occasionally, same thing. So, everybody's got a nose, everybody's got an opinion. What do you think will happen with the DXY in the near term? I have no idea. Let me just see what's in it. Probably doesn't say what's in it. Because the question really is ring the bell. What's the dollar going to do? I'm inclined to think that we could have a pullback in the market just as a pause, but I think the Fed is going to get the stock market higher by year end. And the dollar could be strong in that situation. I think interest rates in the United States are headed up, whether the Fed wants it or not. That could keep the dollar strong. I think the world has demand for dollars, believe it or not. And it's really like Chris Christopherson did Sunday morning. He reached into his closet and found his cleanest dirty shirt. I mean, is the dollar better than the other currencies? I think there's a lot of power, as we've seen, out of New York, Chicago, London, Tokyo. I would have to guess. I would just have to guess. I think the dollar's going to go up. I think the dollar's going to go up. I think if war happens, the dollar goes up. If there's a crisis in the stock market, and I'm not in the near term, I think the market's going to head up, which means money's coming into our market. I see the dollar going up. Interest rates are going up. There's a shortage of dollars around the world. People would rather have US dollars. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk of going into alternatives, but there is no alternative. Would you rather have euros? Those are pieces of paper with I mean, those are ugly. That's an ugly currency. I'd rather have rubles than anything else. But I don't know. I don't play it. And I think you need to ask somebody that reads charts. But I think in the long run, we don't know what's going to happen to the dollar. But I have a feeling the dollar will always be involved in the next currency situation. We have a military, unless we squander it. We have the world's largest gold reserves, if you believe it, but it doesn't matter. We'll never let anyone look. And So we'll be part, we won't go disappear. I like what Jim Willie says, that the dollar will go up and then it'll just go away. And I think the most likely thing is eventually there'll be a domestic dollar and an overseas dollar. There's no currency to take the place of the dollar. Would you put your money with China? It's a communist government. Would you put your money in Russia? I would, but I don't think most would. Would you? And what happens when Putin's gone? I don't know. But anyway, I don't know what you mean by near-term future. I'll just guess it's going up, but it's a guess. It's a guess. AM echo. Military can take control to censor. Well, I believe that. I believe that. But I also yeah, luckily we don't have any censorship in the United States. Luckily. Yeah, I set up this email and you can remember it because, Bill O'Reilly, fair and balanced, my last name and balanced at Gmail, fair and balanced at Gmail. I have to spend time this weekend. I was going to do it last weekend, but I'm going to work on the storage in my computer. Anyway, I made the phone calls. I did all this. I need to clean the storage out and then I can do some manipulation. But I'll look this weekend because I owe that to several people. Well, Mexico is one of the countries that is, if they just bring their living standard up to lower middle class, it's going to make oil go over $500 a barrel. China has 3 populations the size of the United States. If they fall in love with the automobile the way the US did and just want to get to Mexico's level, oil's going to $500 a barrel. There's an interesting, I don't know if I can find it. I'm going to have to research. But there's a guy that wrote a book about a population collapse coming by 2050. And I want to get it because some of the things I heard, it was an interview, intrigued me enough because that's the one thing that would change everything Mexican is if populations collapsed. And it was based on the pill. Women aren't having children until they're older. There's fewer children, those kind of things. But you're wrong, Mexican. You're wrong. China has a massive infrastructure. Saudi Arabia, it feels like when you're there, it feels like you're driving around Texas. India, maybe you're right, but that's a lot of Indians. Russia probably hasn't developed all the infrastructure, but it's amazing what they've done. Southeast Asia is amazing. So you're just wrong. There's plenty of infrastructure out there. It's our infrastructure that sucks. By the river of Babylon, where he lay down. Yeah, I think we saw the River Jordan, of course. And I saw where John would baptize people. I didn't go down and walk down to it, but I saw area. But I would swear we also were right at the Dead Sea. That's where the wedding reception was. I loved it. It was the lowest, apparently the lowest elevation on the planet. Well, CB, there may be no answer. There may be no way to prevent the criminals from counterfeiting shares. I not. Keep coming back. God. Ah. Ah. Oh. 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 It's so painful. No, James. Electric cars. I'll have to study it. But electric, do you know how many cars exist in the United States? You want to take a guess? I'll look it up. How many cars in the United States of America? I was right. You were wrong. Do you want to guess? 290 million. 290 million. How many electric cars are produced a year in the United States? $158,000. So there's, call it 300 million cars in the United States, and there's 158,000 electric vehicles produced. How many electric cars are there in the United States? Well, in the first quarter of 2023, there's 3.34 million electric vehicles on the road. So just using round numbers, 1% of total gas-powered combustion engine cars owned in the United States, there 1% of that number is electric vehicles. It's not gonna reduce our oil consumption. How many trucks in trucks in the US? There's 13.5 million trucks in the United States. Doesn't sound like that many. How many electric trucks in US? 2,000. James, it's just a lie being presented by politicians in the news. All right, let me give you another one, and I don't know if I'll find an answer here. I read a book that contained it. I just don't remember which one. How many gallons of oil are used to build an automobile? How many gallons does it take to make a, my computer's so slow. Okay, here it goes. That's still slow. Still slow. It still hasn't come up. Well, Governor Hochul in New York has just either passed or proposed concentration. No, that's the wrong word. That's too strong a word. But isolation camps for people who didn't take the, didn't follow the science. Okay, that is the wrong question. How much petroleum is used to make a car? It takes roughly the equivalent of 260 gallons of gasoline to make the typical car. 260 gallons of gasoline. How much? So, how many barrels of oil? When you produce gasoline, out of 1 barrel of oil, you can make 20 gallons of gasoline, roughly. So 260 gallons of gasoline to make a car. I don't know how to verify these. I don't know how to verify these number. I just Googled it. So it's 13 barrels of oil to make a car. 13 barrels of oil to make a car. So electric cars are going to be our salvation. How much oil does it take to mine lithium? How much cobalt mining is? Oh, that's the carbon. I don't believe this, but I'll read it to you. The total energy cost of producing and using a Tesla Model S long-range battery pack, building the Gigafactory, battery transportation, battery recycling, diesel fuel required to generate electricity to charge the battery, and the environmental costs of battery disposal and battery fires is equivalent to 3 million barrels of oil. How do you come up with that? However, this estimate is based on several assumptions and should be taken as a rough approximation. The actual energy cost of producing and using electric vehicle batteries will depend on several factors. They're saying it. I think that's specious. I think that is specious. Well, there's no quick Google answer to how much oil is used mining for lithium. Um, How many cars are in China? Nick Jeff, I just read to you, United States has 300 million automobiles. China has registered 415 million motor vehicles and more than 500 million motor vehicle drivers at the end of November 2022. China already has more cars than the United States. Look, we can live in illusion, but the experience of the United States having 5% of the population consuming 25 to 30% of the world's resources. That's yesterday. That is yesterday. Well, I just got the number off of Google. So Tesla is doing 7,500,000 in the United States. How many electric vehicles are in the United States? 2,442,000 registered. Another one estimates there's 3 million electric vehicles. This Hertz estimates there's 1.7 million electric cars. So what JD Power, what percent of US cars sales are electric? Only 1% of all vehicles, 2.5 million in the United States, were electric in 2019. Well, that might be the difference. Maybe Tesla is. How many electric vehicles does Tesla produce? Tesla produced 1.37 million vehicles in 2022. So my guess is, not legal advice, the data on electric cars in the United States is lagging the production numbers of Tesla. But it says deliveries to date, they deliver 435,000 in the third quarter. So you're right. Tesla says on its own website, we have the capacity to manufacture more than 1 million vehicles every year. But remember, we have 300 million automobiles that the statistics state. China has 500 million. I mean, yeah, my number was wrong. And thank you for pointing that out. I just used, when I Googled how many electric cars. This froze, so I can't do anything. WDHI. WDHI is supposedly, somebody said there was a quote on it. There was a quote on it at Charles Schwab. I don't know how real that is. But according to Frank Kristen, the CEO, WDHI is in the registration statement quiet period, so he can't really comment. But then after it's approved, he can talk about the trading in the stock and who's going to be making a market, what market it'll be trading on. Good boy, good boy. He's panicking because he can't see anything and he can't move. The asset value of the shares are based on the cost basis of what they purchased. So they used 52 million as the asset value, and there were, at the time they made the calculation, 15 million shares outstanding. So it's roughly $3.50 a share. The stock is, once it starts trading, according to Frank Caston, darn it, my memory, the CEO, they're all going to be free to trade except for people who own enough that their shares are restricted. He did mention that their audit, they've already filed the audited numbers through the quarter ending September, but they're also with the registration. Anyway, they'll get the year-end numbers out in the first quarter. They have several companies who they may acquire, which they'll be able to announce once the quiet period is over. That's for WDHI. HNRC owns 17% of WDHI. So the way you've asked your question implies maybe a little frustration, but if you remember, I bought the stock HNRC at higher levels, and I got my dividend of WDHI. But we received one share of WDHI for every 2 shares of HNRC we had. So we received $1.75 of this distribution per share. Now, the Reddit, I looked, I think it was Reddit. It might have been StockTwits. There was one projection that, and it's a projection, when WDHI, Worldwide Holdings, starts trading, it could trade up to $5 a share. I don't know. But M. Casey, I am perfectly happy to have waited so they can get this is what he said basically. We have several acquisitions which can be announced once the SEC approval is completed. So that's great. I'm glad they waited. They're going to have, this is for Worldwide Holdings. I'm glad they were able to wait, because I'd like it to trade at $5, not at $1 when it starts trading. But I made those 2 numbers up. I have no idea where it'll start. But Also MKC, they filed, and I might not have written that down. Let me see if I can get it right. I'm going to otherwise do it by memory. Yeah, I'll have to do it by memory. I think they filed in June, and we can look on the SEC site. So they're also waiting for the SEC to approve the trading of the stock. He said that one of his accomplishments was spinning off One of his accomplishments is spinning off WDHI. And he said that the listing could be in the near future. He implied it could be trading in December, but that's a lot of speculation. No, it's a quiet period. Frank Christian could not speak about it because it's going through the approval process. Also, they're talking about acquiring these other companies, so it's a quiet period. But I think it should be trading, could be trading this month, MKC. Hey, Susan. I think all of his jokes are good. Yeah, but not legal advice. With all due respect, 2023 will be 1.8 million. It still proves the point that most cars in the United States, and I don't want to look, I don't want to take the time to look it up, but people keep their cars for about 5 to 10 years, and some are longer than that. So to rotate out the entire automobile fleet in the United States, even if it is 1.8 million a year, it's going to take a long time. So even though your numbers are correct, I think they still validate the point that gasoline powered cars are going to be around a long time. Haven't bought a share in months, too risky in this market. Is there a difference between GTII going to the Korean Stock Exchange and going private? Well, Brian, I think there is for you. If GTII were to go private, it could cause a squeeze, or it would go the way of Dole Foods. Just look up the article. I can't remember the headline. Something like too many shares Dole Foods. Just Google that. When somebody bought out Dole Foods and took it private, shareholders sued the buyer, and going through the court process, a judge ruled that they had to give out more money because there were extra shares. I forget, 3 million extra shares. So if GTII were to go private, and I think it's a valid idea, my guess is you might not get the chance at a short squeeze, but it's worth trying. I'm not saying you don't have a good idea, because they can just let it happen and then allow lawsuits to happen. It drags on for 2 or 3 years. They continue criming. And at the end of the day, it's just a cash settlement determined by a judge somewhere with a bunch of smart lawyers. That could be the way it would go. On the other hand, maybe it would cause a short squeeze, before it went private. It did not do that in the case of Dole Foods. Now, to go to the Korean Stock Exchange, you have to retire all shares, very similar to going private. The company retires all of its outstanding shares, very similar to going private. But what the difference is, you've got in 10 days, is my understanding, you started a listing on the Korea Stock Exchange. It's the same cap table. Now, if the stock starts trading at $10, I'm making it up, the difference between trading on the Korea and going private is not only do the back offices and the judges and the lawyers, they have to see. They see a stock price. It's the same stock. It's the same cap table trading at $10, and they're in trouble. So that's the difference I see. That's the difference I see. I don't know if I explained it. Well. I never saw the movie Easy Rider. I have listened to the song C Rider from Elvis Presley so many times. I've almost starting to like it. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Well, once they're here, they're Americans, or that used to be the way. It's not set up yet, David. I think they have to make announcements about, at a minimum, the new management structure at CAUD. I personally thought it would happen in December. It didn't happen today. And then I also think they need to make at a minimum, like a PR announcement or a corporate presentation that describes the path forward. And hopefully in the 90-day, 6-month, year, and 18-month timeframes. But none of that's happened yet. So once it does, once those announcements are out there, those are my speculations on what could be announced. But whatever they need to announce, it has to happen in a full disclosure way before Brent can come on. It's not Brett. Brent can come on for an interview. I thought it would be today and before my trip. The trip's been delayed, and there were no announcements today. So I don't know is the answer. Thank you very much, Mitchell Wong. That's great. I really appreciate it. As soon as I can get a better I bought Steamboat streaming for a year yesterday, 2 days ago, yesterday. But I want to upgrade to something else. And but anyway, I'm going to have to focus on at least making enough money to keep the lights on, because this little stipend I get, it could end at any time. I don't know. I've got to get more control. But that MKC, that's one approach. But everything's risk. If you have your money at a bank, banks are going down. If it's a choice between me, you, and a grandmother, you are going down. Well, so long, Norma Jean. You were something more than sexual. I don't think you have to be homosexual to give a good haircut. But on the other hand, is a golden ring. All right. So it's 4:56. If there is a question, I'll answer it. Yeah, that's true for any. If you find somebody does it. My favorite place to get my haircut is in London, and I'm shocked when I got my passport. Last time I traveled, I had to get a brand new passport. And so I opened up my passport. I'm used to, boom, 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 boom. I haven't traveled. So anyway, there's a place in London, and I think they're Palestinian guys, but they give me a haircut and they do a great job. But I haven't been there in years. I don't understand enough about Dish. So anyway, I think we're winding down here. I appreciate everybody signing in. I heard pretty high degree of confidence from Ham. So let's watch out and see if his football team wins next week. Please say a prayer if you have that mind for peace in the world, because I don't think it's going to be pretty if this escalates. It's not going to be pretty for the United States. So I think it's even in our self-interest to pray for peace. Pray for the children in any kind of conflagration. They don't deserve it. And pray for Jenny L. And I pray for each of you. I wish you peace, love, and happiness. And we'll catch you maybe over the weekend, maybe Monday, maybe down the road. But hopefully next time we'll have a more lively hearing. So anyway, good night to everyone. Sleep tight.